Now, the South African Human Rights Commission is holding an inquiry into the impact of load reduction on human rights. The investigation was prompted by complaints that the power cuts affected disadvantaged communities more than affluent areas. Various community groups and individuals have told the Human Rights Commission that rural areas and formal settlements, as well as townships, are unfairly targeted. Veronica Makhoali is following those proceedings for us, but joins me in studio right now to give us pretty much the latest. Veronica, won't you just remind us of where exactly we stood with regards to this commission right now, and ultimately what comes next?
Yeah, well, it's been a couple of days of the commission hearing some of these inquiries and complaints by certain residents from all parts of the country, detailing exactly how load reduction is violating human rights. We've heard from various individuals, community leaders, and in fact, coining the term load reduction as energy apartheid almost, saying that the most of this load reduction is being done, as they've mentioned, in rural areas, and that you won't find this issue really hitting affluent areas. They say that, Eskom's reasoning is the fact that some of these areas have, a high, population density. There's a lot of vandalism, a lot of theft. And ultimately, residents have said that this then should be the responsibility of Eskom and not the burden of residents. But today, Arabile, we've been hearing from various departments about the effect and their interventions when it comes to load reduction, specifically from the Health Department. You'd remember the reason why residents brought this up to the Human Rights Commission is that they mentioned that it does affect their right to life, to dignity, to healthcare, to safety. And so these were some of the departments that have come forward to talk about the impact and also their plans to intervene. And what we've heard from the Health Department does speak to some of the testimonies that residents have given, saying that while we've got about 66 health facilities that are exempt from load reduction, the reality is smaller clinics as well as community health centers, which are often found in your townships, informal settlements and rural areas, are those that actually don't have the necessary backup or generation capacity or even diesel to, of course, help, in terms of services that still need to be provided by residents, speaking to the larger problem that's been brought forward by residents. But let's have a listen to just what the Health Department had to say from its findings in regards to the statement put forward by residents.
Most of the hospitals that was visited or were visited were exempted from load shedding up to and including stage 6. All healthcare facilities visited had significant levels of diesel generator backups and could deliver health services during load shedding provided if the diesel supply was not interrupted. Larger hospitals and community health services still provided the 24/7 services. Smaller clinics and community health centers were typically not exempt from load shedding, and therefore the clinics and the community health centers had the greatest need for alternative resources. These facilities of clinics render most of their services from the daytime, from Monday to Friday. The combination of load shedding exposure and the time of services makes smaller clinics and facilities ideal candidates for solar PV with battery backup. The findings on the impact of load shedding of important clinical, life-critical services include only those power interruption may risk emergency care and life support.
So basically what we have here is the Health Department telling the Department of Electricity that you aren't doing your job, or this is how much you're hurting people actually. So government really attacking government in one way or another. And we anticipated to now hear from the Minister of Electricity as well a little bit later on.
Yeah, that has, of course, been the big weight to hear from the Electricity Minister and Eskom itself about, what they have had to say in regards to the evidence that has been put forward, the testimonies given by residents in other departments such as health, as well as the police service, who have also, as you've mentioned, admitted and conceded to the fact that their jobs are made all the more harder, all the more difficult because of this consistent electricity supply and disruption, specifically to these communities where there is a high number of crime, there is much more needed services, and the fact that they can't render the services that are needed to residents.
Yeah.